County too, because they could become tornadic at any time as well. A lot of this is just coming together. It's breaking weather news right here on Fox 10 News at 5 p.m. So we have our live crew in Lucedale, and we have a tornado warned storm tracking towards Lucedale here. There is the Bendale community, and that is our warned storm there. This is team coverage too. I'm going to send it over to meteorologist Matt Barentine. Matt, definitely looks like that rotation is getting more organized for what we're seeing right now on our storm tracker.
Yeah, I mean, it's making its way right over the Pascagoula River right now. So the good news is at the moment, it's likely not causing any significant damage of structures because it's going over the river. But like you said, it's headed towards the East Bank and River Road right there, right dead center in your screen. It says River Road. That is where this is headed next, and headed up towards the Crossroads community. Buzzard Roost is another area where it's headed to. Central Station, the County Mile, Calvary Missionary Baptist Church. I'm just kind of reading off some of the areas that are directly in the path of this upcoming storm. Then eventually when it gets over towards the Lucedale area, of course, we got that's a highly populated area there, actually the most populated area of George County, the county seat. So that is where it's going to be headed to as well. Obviously, we got a camera there on the ground. You could see that there. You can see the flashes of lightning, a lot of lightning here with this main line as well. If you got a dog that is scared of some lightning and thunder, they're going to have a rough night because we're going to have a line here. And like you were saying, Jason, look at the bottom edge of this line going down towards Biloxi. A lot of times we see these lines coming in, and it's the inland part of the line that is the strongest, but not this one. It looks like the coastal areas we're going to get it pretty roughly too when it does make its way through. So if you're watching from Grand Bay or from Foley or from Alberta, you can say, well, it's not here yet. No, it's not for you guys. It's not there yet. But when it does, when this whole line moves through, you can see how it's kind of trailing back down to the south and west. So it'll take longer for the southern part of this to move through, but eventually it will, and it looks like it's going to be fairly strong when it does so.
Yeah, the tornado warning is going to stay in effect until looks like 6 o'clock for Greene and George counties for this warning here that we're tracking here on Fox 10 News. It just got continued by the National Weather Service, so we're not seeing this warning expiring. We're seeing it's continuing here across the Lucedale area. There's also another warning here to the south for Biloxi for a cell that started up around Bay St. Louis, and it's tracking towards Biloxi in Harrison County, and that could get continued over into Jackson County. Our active warning in our area right now is for this George County storm for the circulation that's over the Pascagoula River tracking towards Lucedale, but we've got another one, may have two going on here very soon in our forecast area once that cell gets out of Harrison County and gets over to Jackson County along the coast, and that is matching up with all the instability we're seeing closer to the coast and the possibility of storms to the south. Oftentimes we see a stable marine layer near the coast that mitigates the tornadic threat near the coast, but very deep low-level flow, and we actually saw that warm front scooting way to the north today, so the possibility of severe weather exists across the entire forecast area, but especially the coast and the I-10 region and some areas north of there. We've got an active tornado warning right now in George County. Back to this one here, checking in on the rotation area that we have that we're watching. We have it very close to River Road now, and so it's going to be south of Highway 26, and it looks like it's going to head pretty much right for the intersection of Highway 26 and Highway 63, which is essentially southwest Lucedale. So there is the rotation area there, and it's tracking right for Lucedale. This is going to be what's likely going to be a rain-wrapped tornado if it is indeed a tornado right now. This is not going to be one where you're going to get a real good view of it. It's not one where you want to go outside and look and see if you can see it type of thing. You just want to be sheltered for it, staying inside, lowest floor of your home, away from the windows and the doors, and ride this thing out because it's not a video opportunity really at all with it being nighttime and this likely being rain-wrapped. Now, the latest couple of images coming in here are showing that there is rotation. It does not look like there is very strong rotation, but the environment that we have in the atmosphere today is conducive for very strong tornadoes, and we can take a rotation area like this one right here that looks like it is not super strong. 5 minutes later, it's a tornado on the ground. So wind shear, yeah, the low level flow out of the south, upper level flow out of the southwest, and that's that changing with wind height as you go through different layers of the atmosphere, that can produce the rotating thunderstorms that can produce tornadoes in our area. And so that's one of the ingredients. The other is the high instability values, and all that put together gives us that level 4 risk. This is the instability map here, and the fuel for the storms is actually higher closer to the coast here this evening. We just got some new information on National Weather Service chat. Matt, what are you seeing on that as far as what's going on with this warning in George County?
Okay, their concern is going to be for the storms that are right now kind of around Biloxi and back over towards Gulfport, because once that southern end of it, you can see here, once that moves into our area along the coastline, it's going to run into all that instability that we just showed you on that map, and that's going to allow those storms likely to really fire up. So they're going to find just perfect conditions for the possibility of becoming very strong here over the next few hours. So as this marches across over the next few hours, say from now till about 8 o'clock here in southern Mobile County, southern Baldwin County, then eventually over into the Panhandle by about 8 to 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, we're going to have severe weather possibilities, probably up to about 10, and then it looks like things will begin to weaken a bit after that. So from 5, so now we're at 5:30 up to 10 o'clock. So we got about 4.5 hours to track this here across the across our entire viewing area, but the southern end of our viewing area may get the worst of this. I'm backing this up here for you so you can see the timing again as we go through time, working its way through the area. Once again, over the next several hours, I back it up one more time for you. You can see that, so you can think about the timing of all this. So hopefully at this point you're settled into your house and can just hang out for a bit and let all this go through here over the next few hours, because it's going to get probably pretty rough at times here with this line.
Yeah, it looks like we just had a report of road blockage on Highway 26, Singing River Drive in George County. So this is going to be in the area where we're tracking that possible tornado in George County. Highway 26, which is right here, that's going to be east of Bendale, and this is getting into southwest Loosedale. Possible road blockage around Singing River Drive. We'll be zooming in on that, see if we can find that actual location. And before we do, while we're working on that, we'll have the radar up. Lee Peck is in Loosedale, and Lee, can you tell us where you are right now?
Yeah, hey Jason, we're still in the downtown area in Loosedale in George County. We've been kind of circling the area. You know, when you said earlier, I want to kind of show you what we're working with here. Again, let me put those windshield wipers on. They only stay on for so long, but you can see the rain is coming down. You said earlier that that line of thunderstorms was coming this way. It really wasn't even raining at that point, but they have definitely arrived. Like I said when we talked to you guys a few minutes ago, the rain had started just after 5 o'clock. It's increasingly gotten worse. It's pretty thick right now as we're going down the main stretch here in downtown Loosedale. We've seen a lot of lightning in the last 5 minutes. In fact, probably when we threw it back to you guys for that tornado warning, there was a huge pound of lightning. It shook us. It shook the vehicle, and we both, my photographer Lauren, who's the driver here, we both commented, man, that's really some powerful thunder here. That's what we're seeing right now. These thunderstorms coming through, the thicker waves of rain. You can see some of the puddles there on the side, the lightning going on as we speak. Not a lot of people on the road at this hour. That's a good thing. And again, we've also been noticing, like everyone else out in the field has been commenting, a lot of these places look like they shut down early ahead of this. We've seen the school closures. We've seen some of the municipalities closing up early for this potential threat as it moved through. And that's what we're seeing. Let me put the windshield wipers back on. You can see it gets really heavy out here. But again, that's what we're seeing. It looks like a lot of these people are really prepared and kind of letting people off early to kind of get home and you really take cover. We have seen, which is a little concerning, we have seen several people out and about walking the streets. Probably not a good idea right now. You want to be indoors, you know, kind of just watching and waiting for this to kind of pass, like Matt was saying. This is a really watch and wait situation as a lot of this weather moves through. And again, I can't tell you how this technology that we're showing you here right now, and we show it to you all the time, but it's very impressive. These vehicles are outfitted with these cameras where I don't mind getting out of the vehicle, but this allows us to cover these storms, cover this severe weather like no other place. You know, we can be anywhere at any moment and show you what's going on in real time. I'm in George County. We have I know we have Lacey Beasley, I believe, in the Sims area, and you've heard from Ariel Mallory, who is in Washington County, Chatham. So we're all over the place. We're covering this severe weather for you as it moves through. And again, let me put the windshield wipers back on, I believe. Again, we're just kind of really watching and waiting, and you know, they direct us where to go, and that's what we want to do. We want to show you what's going on from a safe distance, and that's what we're going to continue to do throughout this night. Right now, I'm going to throw it back to you guys in the studio, but we're ready and waiting for when you want to throw it back out to us, guys.
All right, thanks very much, Lee. At this point, just wanted to update you on a couple of things. First of all, there are some trees that appears across the roadway blocked, and most likely not from a tornado on 26 here, just east of Bendale, and this is going to be at Singing River Drive. So if you are traveling, just be aware there are trees down here. That was not where we had the rotation. That was a little further south at that point, so this could have been from thunderstorm winds. To update you on the tornado warning, which is bearing down on Loosedale, we are going to continue the warning, so it's going to stay in effect through the Loosedale area, and there's also a new one that just got issued to the north up into Washington County. So we just had a new tornado warning issued now for Washington County, just north of Chatham. We've got two active warnings in our area right now, one coming through Loosedale, the other one here in Washington County. While we're talking about Loosedale, let's check this one for rotation, and then we'll get into the Washington County warning. So Loosedale right here. Rotation is on 26. Looks like it's headed into Loosedale. It has broadened some, so it's not quite as what we call tight, meaning that the odds of a tornado are not as high as they were, but the rotation area is still there. And this is about to move through Loosedale. It's getting close to crossing the intersection of Highway 26 and Highway 63. It looks like it's basically going to go right through the heart of Loosedale. And here is Old 63 South right there. You've got Loosedale proper, and there is the rotation area headed basically right for town. So that is tornado warning number one. We have a new warning that was just issued for Washington County for this cell here, which is up along Highway 17. It's going to be basically right in Milry and headed towards Kenton. So we've got County Road 34. Here is Bigby. This is the Milry area. There is 17, and you've got County Road 34 here in northern Washington County. We've got a warning up for this one here. It is tracking towards Silver Cross. It looks like Frankville and Silver Cross are in line for this possible storm. There is potentially a tornado here in Milry tracking east-northeast, and it's headed for Silver Cross and Frankville. The warning is going to continue across Washington County and continue into Clarke County for this possible tornado here that is in parts of northern Washington County along 17 and 34. So new warning just came down. Two warnings active right now. We may have a third when that cell gets out of Harrison County and heads into Jackson County closer to the south. This is near Milry and Yarbo. It just passed Highway 17 and it's moving towards County Road 34. It's very close to the Kenton community. There are a lot of colors on this map here, so let me tell you what all this means. The yellow, this is a PDS tornado watch, meaning a particularly dangerous situation, much higher than the normal parameters for a tornado watch. Within that tornado watch, we have some warnings to talk about. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning that was just upgraded to a tornado warning, which is in effect for Washington, Choctaw, and Clarke counties. That's going to include the Coffeyville area where Highway 84 crosses the Tombigbee River. Coffeyville, and especially the south side of Coffeyville, you are under a current tornado warning in your area here. The storm is down around Milry and 17. It's crossing near Silver Cross and Frankville. It may clip southeastern Choctaw County, and then it's going to end up here into Clarke County. So that we got that active warning. We've got an active warning in Lucedale, where our storm tracker crew is right now, and that rotation area is very close to crossing into Lucedale. We've got it right there near 63 and 26. We expected it to come through the heart of town. It has broadened out a bit based on what we're seeing right now, and we do not have any indications of debris, but we have had reports of damage, possibly from severe thunderstorm winds on the north side of this circulation. We've got another tornado warning, which is getting very close to Biloxi now. It's also right over the Gulfport area, and this is tracking on Interstate 10. It could end up around Van Cleve or perhaps Ocean Springs, as this rotation area here tracks over into Jackson County. It's not yet in our forecast area. So multiple warnings going on right now. If you're in Mobile and you're hearing the thunder and the lightning and you're sensing the heavy rain going on outside, these are cells ahead of the main line. They are not currently tornadic, but we'll watch that. Same thing for the cell here in Atmore. So we are starting to see some activity breaking out ahead of the main squall line. So right into the heart of Lucedale right here, we've got that heavy storm moving in. The worst of the weather is going to be along Highway 63, where Lee is right now. Looks like it's going to be pretty much the in-town streets in Lucedale. Your rotation area is right there, so it's really right on the edge of Lucedale, and it's still rather broad in nature. But you can see these are the streets that Lee appears to be on right here. It looks like Mill Street, where he is right now, or very close to downtown Lucedale. And your rotation area is going to be out here along 63, out on the 4-lane highway here, but getting closer to Merritt Road and bearing down on the heart of Lucedale there. So the rotation area here, and there's Lucedale, and the storm's going like this. So it's going to be tracking across Lucedale, may even clip more the northern side of town, and I do expect at the minimum an increase in gusty winds as this moves over Lucedale. So we do have a crew there, right there with Lee Peck with our storm tracker vehicle. We're going to keep that going and monitor that. We have another cell in northern, currently in the northern Washington County area here, and this still has the potential to be producing a tornado along County Road 34 and just to the east of Highway 17. This is the Kenton community there. There's your possible tornado. Keep in mind, this is pretty good ways away from the radar site, so this storm could be a couple of miles either way of what we're zooming in on. But what Matt is doing right now is highlighting some of the roads. You've got Kenton and Bladen Springs Road, the road between Kenton and Bladen Springs. You've got Mitchell Drive here. You've got Dry Creek Road, and this is getting over to Silver Cross pretty quickly here. And we do expect the cell to move very close to Silver Cross and also Frankville, which is right down here, so a little further to the south. There's Frankville popping up there, and that's going to be along County Road 31. So getting into northern Washington County, an active warning going on right now with severe weather very possible in our area this evening. All the parameters in place for severe weather, all modes of severe weather possible. We have a cell here right on the Mississippi coast. It's going to be very close to Gulfport and the Yacht Club right there. It is pulling away from the Pass Christian area, and it looks like it's right out over the Sound right now. This is going to be moving basically east-northeast. This is what's prompted that warning that's on the Mississippi coast, and that's going to be bringing this very close to a very highly populated area along Highway 90, and that's going to bring this possible tornado across Highway 90, and it's going to be a close call for Biloxi, the back bay of Biloxi, and also Interstate 10. So we may not be on TV in this exact location here, but if you know anybody who's over towards Biloxi, tell them to watch out. There's a tornado near Gulfport headed their way. In Lucedale, okay, the heart of that rotation area is coming through Lucedale now, and that's being illustrated too with what we're seeing with our live cameras. Look how the rain has increased as we look at the intensity to the rainfall that's going on in Lucedale. We are not seeing a well-defined rotation structure. Unfortunately, we're not seeing a tornado with what we've got going on right now with our live camera in Lucedale, but we are watching it very closely because that rotation area is coming through Lucedale now, and a lot going on out there right now, Matt. You know, we've got multiple tornado warnings in our area. Unfortunately, we kind of saw this coming, and we are seeing warnings popping up right and left across the forecast area.
Yeah, there comes that new one you were just talking about, and it's now up for Jackson County, Mississippi, for that one that's over there offshore in Gulfport, right there on the yacht club, right on the water. So that one's likely to track right down, basically down Highway 90, cross over through Biloxi and possibly move up towards Van Cleve or even Hurley in time. So multiple areas of rotation that we are keeping an eye on here across the area right now. So this is all very concerning. This is what we expected, though. Got all the ingredients out there for severe weather here this evening, and we'll continue to have that here for the next few hours. In fact, it's likely going to see an increase here, especially with the southern end of this as it works its way into our area. There is a lot of instability. This is where the air is rising, and some of the strongest returns we're seeing of that is basically right over Mobile, West Mobile, parts of the eastern shore. You can see kind of yellowish color embedded in the blue. That is where the air is rising the most. I mean, that is just feeding fuel into the atmosphere. So when the storms get there, they can take advantage of that energy, and that's when we produce severe weather. So I want folks, I know in Mobile right now, you think, well, I can hear some thunder, it's not that bad. Well, it just hasn't gotten to you yet, okay? So we're waiting in Mobile. It's just not there yet, but once it does get there, once this back end of this gets here, it is likely to be quite strong and could get stronger than what it is now. So all this right here, when it gets over into Grand Bay, by La Batterie, in the Dawes area, I anticipate that this will either be as strong as it is now, and we already have a tornado warning there, or could likely even be stronger as that line moves through. So it's going to be a very rough go of it as it moves on through. That's another update of that Jackson County one. So Jackson County now under a tornado warning, and likely before too long we might see more of these warnings into Mobile and Baldwin counties as well. And we just got a cancellation on that George warning, the one we were just talking about near Loosedale. We watched that one the last several minutes. It did seem to broaden out, and they're now saying that that is canceled. So the George one right here around Loosedale, that one has been canceled because it's broadened out. Now, because it's broadened out doesn't mean it can't tighten right back up. These things have a tendency to do that, so we'll have to watch it. Even though it's not a tornado warning at this point, when it crosses back over to the northwestern quarter of Mobile County, we'll have to keep an eye to see if it tries to tighten back up. Also, of course, we're keeping an eye on this one now north of Milry. Looks like it's going to make that quick crossover through Wilcox and head up towards Coffeyville. So Coffeyville is not very far away from you at this point. So you need to be taking shelter. Possible tornado there, making its way up towards Highway 84 into the Coffeyville community.
Yeah, right there around Bladen Springs State Park there in Choctaw County and about to cross 84. Good news for Lee Peck. You can see as we were seeing the broader signature on our velocity product, it felt like things were going to probably work out okay there in Loosedale, and the National Weather Service has dropped the tornado warning for George County and Greene County, including the Loosedale area. Of course, that could change at any time. We could go back to a warning at some point here soon, but we are looking at that warning dropped. Now, Coffeyville, you've got a storm. It's just up here to the north and east of Milry. The core of the storm is trying to cross over into Choctaw County. To the south and east of Silas, right there, you've got Bladen Springs, the community of Bladen Springs, and Bladen Springs State Park. And there it is right there. And this is Silver Cross. So your rotation area between Silver Cross and Bladen Springs, it's tracking up towards Highway 84. And it's going to get very close to Coffeyville here soon up in the northern sections of our area. Actually, this rotation area is temporarily going to move out of our forecast area for about the next 5 to 10 minutes. And then it'll be right back across the Tom-Bigby. And it's going to be right there in Clarke County, and it'll continue to affect Coffeyville and areas along 154 and 69. It looks like it'll cross 84 somewhere right around Coffeyville, perhaps a little sooner than that. So the north side of Coffeyville may be more of a threat than what we're seeing a little further to the south. But there is our rotation area there. Let's check in on our new warning in Jackson County, Mississippi. This is something we were watching, a rotation area right near Gulfport. And looking at it, there's the rotation area there. Here's Gulfport, and we've got it crossing Highway 90. Here is Interstate 10. That feature right there is the back bay of Biloxi. Here is Biloxi. It looks like that rotation area may end up going a little north of Biloxi and end up somewhere right here near Biloxi and Interstate 10. So perhaps the north side of the back bay. But that is your possible tornado there coming in off of Mississippi Sound. It is now cleared Gulfport and headed towards Biloxi. The rotation area is actually currently still outside the area in Harrison County, but it won't be long. It'll be over into Jackson County. And this is one we may be watching for a while because ultimately it can end up crossing Jackson County and end up in Mobile County when this line gets a little closer. You can see for yourself there in Lucedale, real active tonight with severe weather. Some cells going on out to the east of it, one in Covington County, another one out way past Chattahoochee Bay, really over into Bay County, getting past Walton County. And then the yellow, this is the area that is under a tornado watch. That tornado watch is going to continue until the line clears, so until about 8 p.m. for most of the area, meaning conditions are favorable for tornadic development. We are looking at the potential of this watch getting extended. Right now, we do not have a watch currently going on in Conecuh County and further to the east. All right, right here we got a debris signature, it appears, in Choctaw County. This is right near Bladen Springs at Bladen Springs State Park. This is matching up with the rotation area. So we can see the inbound out velocity. We know there's rotation. Now we can look at the particles coming out of the cloud, and the radar, dual pole radar, can tell not just if it's rain, but also if there's other stuff, the potential for debris. And it looks like we have a TDS, a tornado debris signature, going on right here, and it should be just to the south of Highway 84. That tornado debris signature is headed towards Coffeyville. Anywhere around Coffeyville up to West Bend on West Bend Road needs to watch out for a possible tornado that should be crossing the Tombigbee River right now. Looks like Highway 84 and the Tombigbee. This is very shortly going to be in Clarke County if it's not there already. It's right crossing the Tombigbee River. So this line right here, that's the Tombigbee. It is also the dividing line between Choctaw County and Clarke County. And we have that debris signature showing up west of Coffeyville. And there's no doubt this warning is going to be extended over into Clarke County. It's currently extended and may be continued for a while. All right, we're going to go take our velocity product and pan to the north. This is a long ways away from the radar, but we can see the debris aloft. There is Bladen Springs. Here is Coffeyville, and you can see we're out on the very extent of the capability of the radar, simply because the radar that we're using is located at Mobile Regional Airport, and we don't have another radar this far up, but it's good enough to give us the idea that we have something bad going on. So Coffeyville and the north side of town, we are seeing possible debris aloft from a tornadic circulation over Bladen Springs here, and this is going to continue to track into Clarke County. The warning has been discontinued for Washington County and now is solely for Choctaw County and for Clarke County, as this is crossing. The debris signature is actually very prominent right here on top of the Tombigbee River. This is going to be near Bobby's Fish Camp and the campground right there, and then we've got Coffeyville, and we have some river swamp right there, and then we start to see more development around West Bend. We got West Bend Church. You could be in line for this, as well as areas just north of Coffeyville here on 154, and as 69 continues up here on the west side of the Tombigbee. This cell may actually end up being a little north of the most dense population of Coffeyville, but it's going to be a real close call, especially for the north side of town. And this is the debris signature that we're tracking here. So we're not just tracking a rotation area, but this may be a radar confirmed tornado going on right now crossing the Tombigbee River. I'm going to send it over to meteorologist Matt Barentine for more insight on what's going on here in Clarke County. Matt?
Yeah, I was just going to mention that's what the National Weather Service is saying. They're going off the debris ball as a confirmed tornado on the ground. And you look there at the velocity image, like Jason was saying, this is way out, and there's basically a data desert here. Once you get about north of Coffeyville, if you had our way about it, there would be another Doppler radar up there somewhere around maybe Demopolis or so to help us out, to bring us better imagery from the inland areas. But this is really kind of at the edge of its range, and that's why you don't really see a good velocity picture of here. It doesn't look very impressive here, but there's a tornado there, so it's kind of hard to pick out. There's a lot of noise, but the debris ball helps us see that, yes, there is a tornado there. It is on the ground. It's ripping up trees trees right now and branches and leaves and tossing them up into the air, and that is what the radar is picking up. The colors, you see this sort of the maroon color. What the radar is seeing is that's all the same size, what the radar is saying. Same size as in raindrops. But then you see all these little bright colors right here. The radar is picking up things that are not the size of raindrops, something bigger, shaped weird, and that's what it pops up as a debris ball. So that's how the radar can sort of see within a storm. There's not raindrops there. There's something else being aloft into the atmosphere, likely branches, leaves, possibly anything else that could be tossed up in the air by a tornado that is on the ground. And that's what causes that, especially when you see it in a tightly packed ball, you know that that's a tornado. So we have a tornado on the ground, Highway 84 crossing the Tombigbee River, and Coffeyville is going to be very close. Now, another thing we don't want you to do is say if you lived in the south end of Coffeyville, like right here, you say, well, that looks like it's going to go just over here. Well, keep in mind, this is not exact. Where the way that the radar shows up, it's not necessarily exact. I mean, it could be a little bit, a couple miles here to the north or south where this is actually tracking through. You can actually aloft the material to the north or south, just depending on what's happening in the upper levels with the winds. So don't look at this as that exactly where the tornado is at. It could be a little bit on the south end of this or a little bit on the north end of this. So you want anybody in this area around Coffeyville, you need to be taking shelter right now. Hopefully you already are up on Highway 154. Any of these areas here, you need to be taking shelter as this moves on through. There's West Bend, Highway 154. I'm zooming in a little bit closer in. Ice Plant Road, County Highway 21, Friendship Road, Bethel Road, Fairfield Drive, anywhere basically in this part of Clarke County. If you're anywhere near Coffeyville, McIntyre, Tattersville, you need to be taking shelter, but let this pass here as this continues to work its way on through. Hopefully it will lift soon and we won't have it on the ground too much longer, but it's, the possibilities are there for this to be on the ground for a long time because we have the conditions in the atmosphere continuing to be very good, unfortunately, for tornadic development. And we got just some more information. They're continuing to track that, what they call a tornado debris signature. And as it continues to cross here now, just past Coffeyville, maybe just to the north of Coffeyville, depending on exactly where it's at.
Yeah, that green pixel right there is what we really have our eyes on right there. And Matt made a great point. Winds aloft out of the south and southwest. So it's very possible the tornado could be here, but the debris is showing up here because it's a long ways away from the radar. So we're looking further up into the clouds. But definitely a possible tornado right there. This is West Bend Road. Here's Coffeyville. It's going to pass somewhere very close to or right now on top of Coffeyville or along West Bend Road. And then next is going to be along 69. And this is the debris ball. So actually the circulation may be a little ahead of the actual debris. That debris gets up in the air and it hangs out up in the air for a while because of the updraft of the storm. May take it a while to reach the ground once again. And so the actual tornado may be ahead of where we're seeing the debris ball. It could be really anywhere in this general circle that I'm doing right here with my hands from Coffeyville up to West Bend and east northeast in the track and along the path, the storm-based warning that we have for this thing. So there's 69, here is 154, and that green pixel right there is what we're watching as a confirmed tornado according to Doppler radar, a tornado debris signature going on right here live on Fox 10 News in Clarke County. We also have an active warning down into Jackson County for a tornado that we continue to watch, possibly very close to Biloxi and crossing Interstate 10. Looks like that track is going to be close to Van Cleve 2. And new tornado warning just came down. So this is another new breaking weather situation here on Fox 10 tonight. New tornado warning just issued for Washington County for a possible tornado very close to Fruitdale, and it looks like it's tracking towards Tibby. It's going to be right in here and continuing to cross 56, very close to Wagerville. So we are watching one there. We've got another one here, and it looks like it's past Fruitdale now. So the storm-based warning started around 4 Point there, and it's right along 4 Points Road. It's going to be a close call for Uniform as well as Tibby. Possible tornado going on right there and tracking northeast across Washington County. Got a warning up for Clarke County, Coffeyville area. We've got a new warning just issued here for the Tibby area in Washington County and the Hawthorne community. This will be a close call for anywhere on the south side of Chatham as this heads towards Hawthorne, Tibby, and 56 and Highway 17 here. Looks like it just formed up close to Fruitdale, but the rotation area appears to be to the east of Fruitdale and to the north of Vinegar Bend, and that is tracking in Washington County. And then we have our Jackson County warning. So 3 locations are currently under tornado warnings right now in our forecast area: Clarke County, Washington County, and also in Jackson County, Mississippi. Now, I named off 3 counties. Those are large geographical areas. And we have the storm-based warnings that'll actually show you where the tornadoes are occurring in those areas. And right now we're getting a little more information on some of the communities that might be potentially impacted here into Washington County around 4 Points and Tibby. Tibby is right there where you have that little bend going on. The name of the town does not pop up, but that is the community right where 17 makes that bend from the north-northeast back off towards the north-northwest. That bend, that's Tibby. This is Hawthorne Road intersecting 17 there too, and we do have rotation showing up there. Matt, let's check this for debris here. That is a very robust looking couplet that we're seeing, or rotation area. So all right there, not seeing debris yet, not yet. In this area here, your Tibby's right there. The rotation area is here, but we're going to watch it. Just because we don't have a debris signature does not mean there's not one about to touch down or touching down now. Checking Coffeyville, it looks like the tornado debris signature has at least temporarily dissipated. So we're not seeing the tornado debris signature in Coffeyville that we had earlier. This is what's left of it here up around West Bend Road. There's a lot of noise on the radar right now, but we've got heavy rain, we've got gusty winds, we've got a lot of different things happening. And when we see a cell that's isolated with debris right near the rotation area, that is a tornado debris signature. When we see other stuff going on that's not associated with rotation areas, a lot of times that's just plain rain. 3 warnings up right now. This one, and this one. Everything is tracking towards the east. A new tornado watch was just issued for the Gulf Coast, which is going to extend the tornadic threat over into Conecuh County, Escambia County, Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa counties as we look at it. Choctaw was trimmed out of the warning there, so we just got that going on. But Clarke is actually under the gun for 2 tornado warnings right now. The Washington County warning is going to take it all the way across Washington County for this cell here, and could end up in Clarke County again, back over 69 or close to Jackson, Alabama. So if your phone's going off in Jackson, Alabama, it's actually for this cell here, which is down around Tibby and Hawthorne. That is heading your way. Multiple warnings up right now for Clarke County, but the circulation, one of them near Coffeyville, the other one is in Washington County. All right, there's the 17 one. You can see the hook echo right there showing up too as we look at it here. So this is a supercell thunderstorm. You can see the rotation in Coffeyville. I've got another rotation area there just east of Milry. No warning up for that one there. And then the Tibby storm here, getting real close to Tibby with this tornado warning. Here's 4 Points Road, there's Hawthorne Road, and there's the community of Hawthorne there. Tibby is right here. Where Uniform and Tibby basically the same thing, and this is going to track right over Tibby. It looks like south of County Road 1 on Highway 17. Should be moving over that location pretty much imminently. So you're in shelter in Tibby, and then if you're in Wagerville, you're watching this because it's going to track across north of Hawthorne Road, and we think it'll end up very close to Wagerville, where Highway 43 intersects there. So there's 56 coming out of Chatham towards Wagerville, and this is 43 going north, and then here's your rotation area, essentially going pretty much right for this area, and what's past that is Jackson, the Tombigbee River, and Jackson. So we are looking at possible tornado here that may end up crossing the Tombigbee River very close to Jackson, or perhaps a little north up towards McVeigh. That is why the warning up is continuing over into Clarke County, Washington County, and Clarke County. Active tornado warnings here on Fox 10 News. Level 4 moderate risk. tons happening across the area. This squall line really bearing down on the heart of the Gulf Coast. The instability values are very high here. Look at the live picture right there on the road from Washington County. Very, very heavy wind and rain. It looks like our storm tracker vehicle is pulled in there. And where are we located there? We toss into, that's in Chatham, so we're going to send it over to Ariel. Ariel, looks like you're in an area where you're going to be just a little to the north of the tornado warning, but you're in the core of a severe thunderstorm, no doubt, in Chatham.
Yeah, it's really right now, Jason, we're really trying to find somewhere where we can get some shelter. I just want to show you all what we're seeing right now. We're definitely getting hit pretty hard right now. Within these last few minutes, we've been getting the warnings on our phone. Our phone just went off within the last few minutes like everyone else. So right here, right now in Washington County, it's definitely picked up a lot. As you can see, our visibility is pretty low. You know, the rain has definitely picked up and the wind is very heavy right now. You can almost see it gliding across the road. The lightning has not stopped. The lightning has been pretty continuous. So like I said, we're going to definitely try and find somewhere. If you're in Chatham right now, you're in Washington County, you need to find shelter because we're definitely getting hit with it right now. Within the last few minutes, it has definitely picked up and that rain is very heavy. Like I said, we can almost hear it hitting the truck. So right now, like I said, you need to take shelter. You need to do anything you can do to head indoors. If you're on the roadways, you don't need to be on the roads. The lightning is very heavy as well as the wind and the rain. So we're going to try to get somewhere within the next few minutes where we can be safe. So we're going to send it all back to you all in the newsroom right now live in Washington County. Ariel Mallory, Fox 10 News.
Multiple tornado warnings in effect right now. So Ariel is here in Chatham, and the worst of this is going to be down here around Tibby here. So you've got your hook signature. It looks like she's going to be safe for a possible tornado in this spot based on what we're seeing right now, but she is in the windy part of the thunderstorm. There's no doubt about it, and also in the heavier rainfall part of the thunderstorm. If she's on the south side of Chatham, she's going to be a little closer, probably a little too close to the action there. You can see it looks like she's going to a car wash right there, which might be a good spot to park for a bit. All right, looking at what's going on here, possible tornado right near Tibby. It's going to be, Tibby's right there. This is Hawthorne Road, and then this is Highway 56, and then beyond this, as this cell continues off to the east-northeast, it's going to end up in Wagerville, could end up in Jackson too. And when these warnings are issued, if you have a smartphone with location services turned on and you have our Fox 10 weather app, a lot of times you will be alerted within that area that the storm-based warning is issued in. You'll actually get an alert on your phone, and your phone could be going crazy with alerts. And so the tornado warned area, if you get one of those alerts, it doesn't mean there's one kind of sort of near you. It means one's coming your way. And we've got actually areas in yellow. This is a tornado watch pretty much for the entire area. There's not a county that's not in a tornado watch right now. I do think ultimately the squall line is going to clear Greene County. We'll start to see that improve, but the update on the warning here for a tornado warning, it looks like a tornado warning located over Coffeyville here, and it's going to track just west of Grove Hill, moving northeast at 35. So they are continuing the warning for the Coffeyville storm, and that's going to continue until 6:15. That'll be about another 10 minutes for this cell here. This is the one that had the history of producing debris showing up on radar. That's going to be very close to 154. I would expect it to pass a little north of Grove Hill. So right now it's 17 miles west of Grove Hill. Looks like it's going to head really more towards Thomasville, and we'll just have to watch it. Right now, still seeing some rotation there in Coffeyville. We'll see if that warning is continued beyond the next 10 minutes or so. It's really at the limit of our capability of being able to see rotation. Another rotation area here, which is going to be near Frankville and Silver Cross. So this is really right behind that other one. This will be one to watch to see if we get a warning issued for this one. There's Silver Cross. Here's Frankville. The debris was around Bladen Springs, and that continued to Highway 84. So we had some possible damage in this area. in Choctaw County, and then south of this Frankville area where we have the rotation, we've got the rotation down around Tibby, which would be the next possible area to watch out for a possible tornado right there. And that looks like it's clearing Tibby now, so it's going to be a little north of Hawthorne, which is right here. It's pretty much headed right for Highway 56, which is the highway that leads from Chatham, and this is going to be the portion of the Highway 56 that leads from Chatham back over to Wagerville, which is right here. So this is going to be a close call for Wagerville. Anywhere, it looks like it's going to be a little south of St. Stephen's. We're going to have to watch out for St. Stephen's too, and up here into northern Washington County as it continues to track over in the direction generally of Jackson too. That could be a real issue once it gets over closer to the Tom Bigby. I want to check in on our warning down here in Jackson County, Mississippi. We've got a warned storm here too. This is from the National Weather Service in New Orleans. We've had a tornado warning up for the Back Bay of Biloxi. Looks like your possible tornado just clipped the Back Bay, crossed Interstate 10, and now the next community ahead for this would be Van Cleve. Looking at the signature on radar, you've got a real strong area of wind, and sometimes you get these little eddies that form up on the edge of that signature, and that appears to be what's going on with this. It's one of those little spin-off eddies, possible tornado there, and no doubt about it, strong winds, thunderstorm winds going on for Biloxi, getting closer to Ocean Springs and headed towards Pascagoula. Looks like the rotation area is going to go this way, closer to Hurley, but that gusty wind situation coming across the sound could end up in Pascagoula shortly. So we're still watching that one there as we look at Jackson County, Mississippi. Looks like the ones that are more serious in the way they're appearing on radar right now are going to be the Chatham area. This one here, real close to Chatham, just moved over Tibby, and you can see our live picture where we're looking back towards the storm. The worst of it may have just clipped and passed Chatham. It certainly looks better in Ariel's location there. That rotation area should cross Highway 56 about 5 to 7 miles to the east of Chatham, and anywhere from there over to Wagerville, that's where we're concerned about possible tornadic activity. Another rotation area there which has not prompted a warning, and then this one here was our tornado debris signature, not producing a debris signature now, but tracking towards Thomasville and could tighten back up and form into a warning at any time. Our debris signature was right in here. It's going to be about 30 minutes ago. Not seeing any debris too with this one here on the east side of Chatham getting out towards 56 in Wagerville. So that's a promising sign there. But you know, with all the ingredients we have in the atmosphere today for the possibility, or tonight now, for the possibility of severe weather, we could see one really touch down at any time. There is so much rising motion going on in the atmosphere. Near record highs today in the forecast area, very muggy, and this creates that rising motion in the lift, which can create these supercell thunderstorms. We also have a lot of wind shear going on, so low level flow out of the south, upper level flow out of the southwest, and as you get things going in the atmosphere, you get the air rising, it starts to twist and turn, and it gets that rotation going. And you put all those ingredients together, and you've got our STP values. That's our specific tornado parameter graphic, and where you see the brown and orange, a lot of times when we go back, when we've had significant tornado events in our area, we've seen STP values that look like this, and they're actually very high, even right near the coast. Now, there are also some high values here in Clarke County where we have that rotation going on too, but this is really a more coastal focused event, I-10 and the inland spots, basically a Gulf coastal type event from the inland areas all the way to the coast. By 7 o'clock, as we get a little further out in time, those STP values are going to kind of follow the squall line, and we'll start to see, you know, tonight, 9 or 10 o'clock, the focus is going to be a little farther to the east. Now, this is not exact. This is model driven, but it gives us the idea that there may be a fairly quick end to this. I would say by about 11 o'clock tonight, so in about 5 hours, we'll have seen this line sweep through the heart of the forecast area, and we'll start to see some improvements. Looks like the tornado warning is continued for Clarke and Washington County until 6:45 for the cell near Wagerville. And it looks like the system now northeast of Tibby, and it's looked to about 6 miles southeast of Chatham, moving northeast at 50. So that cell there. This is the 9 o'clock depiction of what the futurecast is going to look like. In 3 hours, we expect the radar to look generally like this, and by 11 o'clock, we've got the leading edge of the line over towards Panama City and Bay County. It's really going to be out of the picture for us, so we're not expecting this to go on all night. It's happening now. We got problems right now, but ultimately things will get better, and there'll be some cooler weather moving in. Tornado warned storms, Clarke County, Coffeyville area. Looks like that warning is going to continue for just a little while longer. This warning just got continued, and it's for that cell crossing just south of Chatham, and it looks like it's going to go over towards the Jackson area in Wagerville, and then we've got this warned cell here. So if you see one of these red boxes, that's where you don't want to be. That's the storm-based warning for tornadoes. Used to get a tornado warning, they issue it for the whole county. Now they do it for the actual event that's ongoing, where we're actually seeing the rotation area. Rotation area is going to be right in there. It's about to cross 56. So checking it out. Here is 17. There's Tibby. Here's your rotation area. Here, there's Chatham, so it's going to be now about 7 or 8 miles to the south and east of Chatham. Here's County Road 28, and then Wagerville, where 56 intersects Highway 43, coming up from the south. If you're traveling from Mobile County, you come to the north and you'll see 56 on the left-hand side of the road, and your rotation area is working right along 56. So basically going to parallel 56 for a while, basically go right over Wagerville, and then next up we'll be following Highway 43 as we get closer to Jackson. There's Jackson there. Here's Grove Hill. A little rotation area here we've been watching. No warning up for that one there. And seeing if we got any. We just saw an expiration of the warning to the north, Matt. So got some new information there. I'll send it over to meteorologist Matt Barentine. He can shed a little light on that. Looks like that warning box to the north may be off the board.
Yeah, it sure is. It's still up on our graphics, this one up here, but it's gone. That one has been allowed to expire, or it's been canceled. So we're still, the main one here is going to be the one that's now around Wagerville, headed up towards Jackson. And then that's the one right now that is still on the board. Of course, you also had the one in Jackson County. Well, that one was allowed to expire too. So now we've got just really one going in our area. So that's an improvement. We had 3 at one point. Now we have 1 tornado warning. And looking at the velocity imagery here, it is not looking as vigorous as it was a bit earlier. So this one may be spinning itself down. Still showing up, though. We can still see there on Highway 56, there's definitely still showing at least some broad rotation there. So even if you don't have a tornado on the ground, you most likely will have some very gusty winds. And that is going to be headed basically right up 43, or just to the north of 43, up towards Jackson and towards Mays Crossroads and Silitpa. So right along Highway 69 there, likely seeing that moving on through that area before too long. So you're going to get some strong gusty winds, possible tornado up in that area, maybe even getting into Jackson proper itself, kind of looking at the trajectory of this storm. Most of these have had more of a northerly trajectory tonight. This one, yeah, about the same too. It looks like it's going to go up in kind of about this direction here. So that's really where you're going to want to pay attention. If you're up in the Silitpa area, Mays Crossroads, that looks like it's where it's going. Now, if you are in Jackson proper, that doesn't mean you just say, oh, well, no worries for me. Once again, you're going to be on the edge of this at least, and there's going to be still very strong gusty winds, and you definitely want to be inside in your safe place and staying away from windows here as much as you can. Let this pass by, and it won't take long. It'll be in and out. It's moving 50 miles per hour, so it's not going to take long. Be patient, let it pass, and then your night will get better because conditions will begin to improve on the back side of this line pretty rapidly. Once you get that front edge through, things will start to improve. It'll still rain for a while, but the conditions will improve rapidly, especially as far as any severe conditions. Because if we're going to get severe weather, it's going to be right on basically through the heart of this system as it's moving on through. So basically on the front edge and the heart of this, and once you get on the back edge of this, the front edge here is where we're going to see severe weather, and kind of like right through the middle of it. Once you get on the back side of all this, severe weather threat ends.
Keeping an eye on all this for you here. Nice overview of what's going on across the Gulf Coast this evening. Our squall line is a broken line. There are some isolated cells out ahead of it. It is not a cohesive line, and that's actually bad. When you start to see individual clusters of storms, then the potential is actually greater for severe weather. And the tornado warning storm that we're watching right now is going to be near Wagerville in Washington County, bearing down on Jackson and a little north of there up towards Salitpa, the McVeigh area here, just to the north and a little to the northwest of Jackson. So we're watching that one there. We also have a warning up for Jackson County, Mississippi, for a possible tornado now near the Van Cleve area, which will be crossing the Pascagoula River and could be fairly close to Hurley. Just got word that that tornado warning may actually have been allowed to expire, so we've taken that one off the board too. We're down to one. This is up until 6:45. We'll see how long it stays in effect. It does look like a healthy rotation area, unfortunately, right now, meaning that the rotation is strong, and we're likely going to continue the warning through the next 30 minutes or so. That'll be through 6:45 p.m. So what is going on with the weather today? A level 4, a very rare moderate risk. Usually only happens a time or two each year, and we are in our secondary severe weather season. We can see severe weather in the fall and in the early winter. You may remember that we have had tornadoes in our area before. We had one in early December, late November, early December in Fruitdale this year, and then we had our Christmas Day tornado in Mobile years ago, December the 25th. So it is very possible to get severe weather when we have these warm-ups, and this is on the back edge of a long, extended warm-up. It's actually allowed water temperatures to warm up and recover a little from recent cool spells, and it may be adding a little more fuel to it, plus the warm front's way to the north. So the atmosphere is certainly juicy enough for severe weather tonight. Checking within the line, our one warned storm is going to be here in Washington County for a tornado warned storm that is getting closer to Wagerville. It's now pulling away from Tibby and Chatham. It's along 56 and it's tracking towards Wagerville. So updating you on this one, right there is going to be your rotation area, about where the emblem there, the badge is, that's Highway 56. This is Highway 43, a 4-lane highway which leads to the north from Mount Vernon, Malcolm, and McIntosh, and heads up into Jackson. And our tornado warned storm right there along 56 here in Washington County. Clarke County is included in this warning because it will continue across the Tombigbee River and move on off towards the east-northeast, as it's doing so right now at 50 miles an hour. This is a fast-moving circulation that's going on right now in Clarke County, and there it is right there, your rotation area. It's now cleared the intersection of 56 and 28. Looks like it's going to get pretty much right over Wagerville, and it's going to be a very close call along 43. If it takes more of an easterly track, it'll basically run right along Highway 43 between Wagerville and Jackson and follow Highway 43 across the Tombigbee Bridge and go right into Jackson with the core of the rotation. So your tornado is probably located somewhere right in here if we have one on the ground here. Of course, we can check that for debris and do all that stuff as well. Small to medium-sized hail is possible today, so we've got to watch out for tonight the possibility of some hail too, but the primary threat is going to be thunderstorms with gusty winds and also the possibility of tornadoes. Still looks fairly favorable here. There may be something going on here. You know, our circulation area is showing the rotation there, so with the winds aloft trying to push whatever's happening to the south, could be seeing something there. It is not a well-defined debris ball currently. And we also have noted quite a bit of wind on the northern side of the circulation, which can actually generate debris aloft from gusty thunderstorm winds. It could be occurring right there, but it does look like something matching up with what we're seeing with the signatures that are going towards and away from the radar at a very close location or proximity, gate to gate shear, and the possibility of rotation. So we're under the gun with an active tornado warning right now in Washington County, tracking towards Clarke County. It's going to be a close call for Wagerville and Jackson, and communities just a little north of Jackson along 69. We've got a lot of activity with thunderstorms, strong to severe thunderstorms in our area with heavy lightning and rainfall going on pretty much area-wide. Look at the lightning in Jackson County, Mississippi right now. Pretty epic with the amount of lightning. An indication that we do see a lot of instability. That's why we have a high concentration of lightning strikes right there in Jackson County. And we're still watching the Washington County storm, still the possibility of producing a tornado. There's another one we're watching down here around Deer Park. So we got Vinegar Bend here, and we got Deer Park about right there. And here is another rotation area that we're going to have to watch for our next possible warning right here around Deer Park. So just above Citronelle, an area that is not currently under a tornado warning, but I wouldn't be surprised to see one get issued here based on what we're seeing. Vinegar Bend, the Y intersection where 17 and 45 intersect there, a possible rotation area here. Going to be very, very close to potentially impacting the Fairford area and Sims Chapel if that continues on off towards the east-northeast, close to Highway 17. So that's another area that we're going to have to watch out. You know, these areas of rotation can really pop up out of the blue. You know, you'll be watching the line and you'll say, okay, it looks like we're kind of good in that spot, and then you go back 5 minutes later and you're like, wait a minute, that looks suspicious right there. More rotation starting to form up. So active warnings, got one in Wagerville tracking towards Jackson, got another one that's not currently under a warning but could be producing thunderstorm winds, Deer Park, and just south of Vinegar Bend. This is also going to be pretty far south of Fruitdale. Looks like the worst of the weather may have finally cleared Fruitdale finally here this evening as the surface line is making some progress to the east. And we're going to see this. We're going to see this line making progress. We're going to see problems along the line, but we're also going to see improvements behind it. And for example, right now, you know, Greene County, Mississippi, most of the rotation threat is lowering in Greene County. We actually see it dropped from the tornado watch fairly soon. Looking ahead, though, these are the areas where we have to be concerned about possible tornadic development, and still watching those two spots right there here on Fox 10 News tonight. Looks like we got our live crew back on the move there in Washington County as well, Matt.
Yeah, that's right. So the worst of the storm has passed them by, so they are on the move. And yeah, like Jason was saying, we got two areas of rotation now in Washington County on that, right in the heart of that line that is moving through right now. It looks like we just got that brand new warning in for this Deer Park one, Jason. So brand new warning for this one that Jason was just talking about south of Vinegar Bend there on your screen on Highway 45 in the Deer Park area. Let me get the maps up, and there it is. Like basically looks like one big tornado warning, but that's for two separate spots we were just showing you. And now we have two separate tornado warnings for Washington County that do extend into Clarke County up around Choctaw Bluff and back up towards Jackson as well. So this first one looks like it's going to go a bit north of Jackson. The second one may end up going just a bit south of Jackson. So you're getting bracketed by possible tornadoes here, tornado warnings at least, with this storm. And I'll go ahead and point this out for you. We got two areas. It's this one here. That's the first warned storm right there, just off to the west of Jackson. And then this one down here on Highway 45 or Highway 17 hits a lot of you folks. If you go up that way from Citronelle, you know that sort of Y intersection up there where 17 and 45 branch off. That is where this storm is at right now. So two storms, both producing rotation in Washington County. So right now it's Washington County getting obviously the worst of the weather. That one's kind of going outside of my viewpoint there, and that's going to go up very close to Jackson. Once again, Jackson right here. Here is that circulation. It's going up towards the Mays Crossroad area, Salitpa on Highway 69 up there. Then we got the Vinegar Bend area here down towards Deer Park on Highway 45. This is going to work its way across eventually up towards Highway 43 as well. So Highway 43, Highway 45, Highway 17, up around Chatham and Jackson. These areas can continue to be dealing with severe weather, possible tornadoes here for the next 30 to 45 minutes.
Very active and very concerned about this particular rotation area here around Deer Park. A new warning just issued. It's crossing Highway 45 pretty much right now, just below the intersection of Highway 45 and Highway 17. That's going to be having it pull away from the Deer Park area. And out ahead of that, very close to Sims Chapel and Fairford in southern Washington County. We think this will actually go a little south of Tibby, but it's basically paralleling the other circulation location. We've got the Topton community right there. This is Ab Road. Here's John Johnson Road there. And so right in through here, you've got the circulation there. It's going to be tracking towards Topton as it moves across Washington County. This is an area where we've got some rotation going on here, and we've got to watch out for the potential of a tornado in southern Washington County. That one may get continued over into Clarke County too. In fact, that's where we're seeing the warning going. Should be somewhere north of Carlton once it tracks over into Clarke County. So they've got these warnings for these cells that are racing across Washington County right now at about 50 miles an hour. This one is about to move across the Tombigbee River, and between Wagerville, it looks like just up past County Road 28, there is the rotation area. Mays Crossroads is in line for this one too. Here's Jackson, and the rotation area may cross just a little north of Jackson as it works across the Tombigbee River and ends up over into Clarke County. This squiggly line right here is the Tombigbee. So we've got it coming away from County Road 34. It's crossing County Road 34 right now, and we see it going forward across the Tombigbee River and ending up here closer to Mays Crossroads as it gets into Clarke County. Actually, I have 3 meteorologists on staff right now. We got meteorologist Matt Barentine running the radar. Meteorologist Jennifer Lambers is in the house as well. We'll be joining the coverage here soon. So we've got a lot of eyeballs on this, watching the severe weather for you here if you're in Washington County and Clarke County, and we'll walk you through this and the entire forecast area. So lots going on here. New information with meteorologist Matt Barentine. What you seeing, Matt?
Okay, I just wanted to bring some of the new information. This comes from the Storm Prediction Center, and they're keeping a very close eye. We mentioned this earlier, but I'm going to actually pull it up here for you real quick. The instabilities are very high in southern Mobile County, and so they're concerned for basically for Mobile County for when the storm system moves on in, because we're looking at very strong instability. So as this line moves in, we're going to likely see more of these cells create more possible tornadoes coming on through. So I know for a lot of folks you're watching in and around Mobile right now or the Eastern Shore, so it's going on inland areas, not here, not where I'm at. It's going to be, okay? This is going to continue over the next couple of hours. Now, this won't last forever. This is within the next hour or two. It's going to be moving into the Mobile area, but it's going to find that line when it gets into the Mobile area is going to find very high instabilities. What is instability? That is, think of putting a hot pot of water on your stove and it starts bubbling, and those bubbles coming up in that hot pot. That is what instability is. This air rising into the atmosphere, it creates a very volatile situation. It feeds the fuel into the storms, and it's pretty high. It's actually very high across Mobile County and Baldwin counties right now at this moment. And from the Storm Prediction Center, that is something they're focusing on right now. They've got our area outlined essentially for the possibility in the next hour of seeing more tornadoes. So we're going to have to watch this very closely over the next hour. We're going to see the possibility of more tornadoes in and around the area as this entire line moves through. In fact, let me back it out a little bit so you can see the line. Let me get to the right graph there of my product. There we go. There's the radar. So you can see over in Jackson County, see that big red patch of storms right in the middle of the line. Once that gets into Mobile County, it's going to find a very, like Jason said, a very juicy atmosphere to work with, a lot of instability, and it's likely to continue to fire up here as it moves through Mobile and then eventually over into Baldwin County as well.
Yeah, big red circle over Mobile County from the Storm Prediction Center. Never good to see the possibility of rough weather when you're looking at it in advance and getting something so specific as advisories for one particular county. And you're looking at it, the line here, we are watching a really hefty thunderstorm coming through Hurley, Mississippi. There was some rotation within that line earlier. It did prompt a warning for the Gulfport, Biloxi area. We are not under any active warnings right now in Jackson County, but a thunderstorm which is likely going to produce gusty winds, could be producing damaging winds, and possibly some rotation will be heading over into Mobile County soon. It's currently about 6:30. Looks like this is about right on on track. If you've been watching our coverage for the last day or so, we've been expecting to see this line about 6 to 7 o'clock for the Mobile area. We're going to be pretty much slated for that. Up into Washington County we go with active tornado warnings going on. We've got a pair of them. They extend into Clarke County. Looking at the red boxes here, these are our storm-based warnings for one cell here, which is located over the southern part of the county. The other one is crossing the Tombigbee River and now entering into Clarke County. So things are really rocking right now in Washington County with severe thunderstorms, some of those capable of producing tornadoes. There are 2 rotation areas we are watching. This one has now moved east of Highway 17. It's going to be located right in through here, due east of Vinegar Bend by about 8 or 10 miles. And your rotation area right there, we've got Ab Road coming down right here. This is going to be very close to the Tompton area. And good news on this one here, we may be seeing a dropping of this warning here. If you're in Jackson, Alabama right now, we've been watching this possible tornado near Wagerville. The warning, it looks like it's going to be dropped right there. So we just got an update from the National Weather Service that it looks like this is broadening out, and it looks like most of the focus is going to be now on this warning here. So if you're in Jackson, don't let your guard down, but just know that we're seeing a broader situation with the rotation, and we may not have a tornado crossing the Tombigbee River here around Jackson right now. Gusty winds, thunderstorm winds likely to be ongoing. This circulation is looking more dangerous right now to the east of Vinegar Bend, so we're going to focus in on it. Topton's right here. Here's Hawthorne, running basically due east between Uniform and Hawthorne is Hawthorne Road, which is right there, and your rotation area just a little to the west of Topton and to the west of Reed Settlement, and it's moving east-northeast at about 50 miles an hour. It looks like it's going to go right across Ab Road and then continue generally over towards the rivers and trying to get into, unfortunately, Clarke County once again. Hopefully it does like the other one and it falls apart. But right now it does look like a robust circulation there. Let's check it for debris. Right now not seeing a whole lot as we pan back down to the south, so your rotation area right in there. We'll have to keep an eye on some of these pixels in there, but so far so good in Washington County. We do not have a confirmed tornado on the ground. Lightning is a guarantee. We're going to see that tonight. And with the heavier cells to the north, we're seeing some clusters of lightning. With that large thunderstorm in Jackson County around Hurley, we have a very high concentration of lightning there. That is not far off from Tanner Williams and areas down towards Seven Hills and Grand Bay. So a lot of lightning all the way along the Mississippi coast, Highway 90 into Pascagoula. Some of those strikes getting over towards Moss Point, about to Point of Pines. Just had a new lightning strike there popping up just over on the west side of Biola Battery. So lightning strikes are there, but there are higher concentrations of lightning to deal with. There's been no change in the overall severe risk. We will see this trimmed up soon here shortly. We should be getting an update from the Storm Prediction Center, and a level 4 moderate risk for severe weather in our area today, and that's going to include basically the western 2/3 of the forecast area, all of Mobile County in that level 4 risk. That means the potential for severe weather is there. Of course, severe weather is always a localized thing. So if you're under a level 4 risk, it does not mean that you're going to get a tornado in your community or in your neighborhood or in a specific town. Tornadoes can be very localized where we actually see them touch down. It's not like a hurricane that can affect a broad area, but they can be more dangerous and they are certainly less predictable. When you get a situation where you have a level 4 hurricane, you know it's pretty much coming right at you. You can time it out. You know what to expect. A level 4 risk for severe weather means that there's a greater potential for severe weather, which can be a localized event. You may be wondering, oh, how bad is it going to be at my house tonight? It's really hard to say exactly where the severe weather is going to develop and actually where the warnings are going to pop up. But the potential is there, so we're right here with you on Fox 10 News, and we do have an active warning right now in Washington County. Here's the squall line. Stretches from Thomasville to Jackson. with the warning storm there south of Chatham down to south of the Agricola area here in southeastern George County, and then Hurley, and then right there just to the east of Biloxi around Ocean Springs and Pascagoula. If you get to the west of that line, if you're back here, your severe weather threat's basically over. Most of your severe weather threat's going to be right along the line and ahead of it. We've seen some warnings issued for some of the cells ahead of it. Right now we're doing pretty good with that. Some of the worst of it popped up a little east of our area, but these individual cells over the Gulf will have to be monitored as they lift to the north. And looking at it, that line's getting real close to Mobile. You can see the Sims area. We do have a storm tracker out in that area there. I've seen a lot of lightning strikes on that shot there. There are your two storm-based warnings for tornado warnings right now, Clarke County and Washington County. The greater focus is not on the Jackson warning, but we do just have some new information on that one there. Matt, what are you seeing with that cell heading towards Jackson?
I just want to point out from what the Weather Service is saying about these two different warnings, like the one that was the northern one that's up around Jackson, that rotation has basically fallen apart, but they've left it up because this other rotation is basically going to go about through the same area. So they just left it up because they have the other rotation that's approaching McIntosh now. That's going to be very close to Jackson as well, maybe more on the south side rather than on the north side. So they just left that up until it expired because they wanted folks in that area to know they're still going to be likely dealing with the possibility of a tornado or at least a tornado warning. So they didn't want to drop it and folks think they fell out of it when might have to put one up right after it anyway. So they just left that up. The whole area, if you're in that area between Chatham, Jackson, McIntosh, you need to be staying in your house, obviously, away from windows and staying in shelter here while these storms pass. And they won't last long. Like Jason was saying, these are moving at 50 miles per hour. And once we get on the backside of this, the severe weather threat will end very, very quickly. So that's the good news. The bad news is we still have other areas that haven't even seen the front edge of this, and they're going to go into their other areas are going to go into their into the severe weather threat here very soon, particularly in parts of Mobile proper, and then over into Baldwin County. We're going to see that threat move into the metro areas where we obviously have very dense population here in Mobile County, then over onto the eastern shore into Baldwin County. That is coming up within the hour. Also, the storm prediction, Sarah Jason was mentioning this here from the severe risk zones that you see right there on your screen. They're going to update that at the top of the hour, and what I'm going to expect here is we'll see something like this. Basically, they're going to cut off about that, likely from the western edge of that will all be cut off, and it'll be more off to the east as we see all this system actually moving along. So we'll continue to see them update that. We'll see more updates here as we go through the night. Right now, just be aware we got the tornado warnings or tornado warning for Washington County, getting very close to Jackson there in southern Clarke County. And then we got that line, like Jason said, that we're going to have to monitor very closely, right? These are the storms I'm concerned with, these ones that are offshore here south of Biloxi. When that line is coming into southern Mobile County, Dauphin Island, Bayou La Batterie, Coden, watch out. These are going to be very, very strong cells coming in. Could possibly produce tornadoes as they do. So we're going to be watching that very, very closely, and just getting an update here on the and we're also getting an update on that moderate risk too. Let's see if it's there we go. Look, they've just trimmed it back like I was just mentioning. See how far it got trimmed back off to the west? They just updated that right there. So they actually did it before the top of the hour, and they basically sliced off the whole western edge. So now you can see even parts of Greene County basically moving out of the danger zone, as the danger zone now is mainly over Mobile, Baldwin, Clarke, parts of Washington, and parts of Monroe County. That is where the highest level is. Still level 4 for the rest of the area, so not completely out of the woods there for sure, but the highest risk is going to be right on through Mobile County, parts of Baldwin County, then going up towards Monroe County and Clarke County as well.
So a couple of things to point out here right now. First of all, this line is favorable for supercell thunderstorms, and we're going to continue to see that threat of these storms turning quickly tornadic as it moves through the area. We are under an active tornado warning right now for a thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado, and that warning is going to extend until 7 o'clock for the Washington County storm. So that possible warning right there is tracking towards Wagerville, and that's why that warning stayed up for a while to the north. New warning is going to continue until 7 o'clock. This one could end up on the south side of Jackson if it makes it over into Clarke County. So we've got a warning up here. That's for Washington County. It's going to be for the Ab Road area here in Washington County for a possible tornado tracking east-northeast and working towards Highway 43 there around Wagerville, between Wagerville and McIntosh. And we are looking at the potential of seeing damage there. So let's check in with Lacey Beasley, who is in Sims, and we are seeing that line getting closer. You're probably seeing quite a bit of lightning and thunder going on in our area. Lacey?
Yeah, that's right, Jason. Now, I'm here with our very own Stephen Moody. He's driving the car right now. We've been in Sims for the past couple hours, but it's just now starting to pick up. Let me show you what we're looking at outside right now. As you can see, rain is picking up. We've seen a lot more lightning. We've heard a lot more thunder just even in the past 30 minutes. And we've been out in Sims probably since around 4 o'clock, but the rain is now just coming down. We're driving through the downtown area. We've been up and down Wolf Road, Westmobile, Schillinger. We've just covered the Westmobile area. Originally when we first got here, it was just sprinkling. We checked in with the Sims police station and the fire station just to touch base that we were in the area and we were going to be driving through, and even just a few hours ago it was just light rain, some strong winds, but now it has picked up. As you see, there are some cars that are still on the road, and my warning to drivers is just be careful. Roads are slick. The rain is picking up. As we said, there's been lightning in the area, thunder just about 10 minutes ago. Be careful on the roads and look out for any debris that may be falling in the roads. And now, as we've been saying all night, it would be a great time to download our Fox 10 weather app. Stay up to date on those lightning places throughout your area, and just to be weather aware. Once again, we are in Sims right now, and as anything updates, we'll keep you updated on air and online. And once again, download that Fox 10 weather app where you can stay up to date. Jason?
All right, so we're looking at the line coming right there close to Lacey right here. So she's going to be located pretty close to Moffett Road right there, right on the leading edge of the heavy rain, which is coming in. And we can see that here where we have this red coloration going on right here on radar. We are looking at some lightning strikes ongoing back towards Hurley, and that is pushing into the Sims area. It's really bearing down on Wilmer now. Heavy thunderstorm there, but we're not under a tornado warning there. Our tornado warning is up for southern Washington County, and it's going to be in effect until 7 o'clock for this area here, and it's going to be along Highway 43 and Highway 56. Our rotation area is pretty close to McIntosh. It may be a little to the north and east of McIntosh there. There is the rotation area there, and zooming in, that road should pop up here. This is Hawthorne Road, so it's going to be a little north of the Hawthorne community, or very close to the Hawthorne community, and the rotation area a little further south, just to the south of Highway 56. So here's Highway 43, and our rotation area is going to be right there, right near the Hawthorne community, and that is where the warning is. Now, this is the one we had earlier, which is that we're watching as well. It looks like there might be two pieces of it. We'll have to see. The National Weather Service has actually issued a warning for the whole location where we have the velocity product showing the rotation. So could be really rotation anywhere along this line where I move my hand back and forth. Essentially, Wagerville, McIntosh, Hawthorne. You're under a tornado warning, and this is tracking towards the Tombigbee River, and it may end up just south of Jackson. We've got Carlton and Choctaw Bluff right here, and this is moving east-northeast, so it's about to cross the Tombigbee River and move over into South Clarke County. And what we're looking at here, what is velocity? Well, we can tell where the wind's going towards the radar and away from the radar. We've got winds going in this direction and then that direction, very close to each other. That's gate-to-gate shear and the possibility of of a tornado. We can also look for debris, a lot of different tools at our disposal instead of just looking at plain old rain on radar. And we are going to see this line moving through Mobile County and Baldwin County as we go through the evening hours tonight, and that's going to bring us the possibility of severe weather on the southern end of the line. This line could go tornadic really at any time. Jackson County, Mississippi, Mobile County, Alabama, and over into Baldwin County as it tracks to the east on the southern edge. A lot of instability near the coast. So we're not out of the woods at all. We're still ahead of this line. Warning up right now, and there's a mention from the National Weather Service chat that near Seaboard, which is basically where this rotation area is here, starting to tighten up with the rotation right there. So just on the west side of Highway 43 near Seaboard, we are seeing in Washington County rotation area starting to look better defined and may have the potential for producing a tornado. And it looks like it will approach Highway 43 just south of Wagerville. So Wagerville right about there, and it looks like a close call for the Sunflower community too. May end up between Somerville, Sunflower, and Wagerville as it crosses Highway 43. This one may come right across Highway 43 within about the next 5 to 10 minutes. It is in currently Washington County, active tornado warning. And all this started around 4 p.m. and all this is going to continue until about 9 or 10 o'clock tonight, possibly a little later for the Florida Panhandle. So our area is going to have to deal with this line as it's coming through. It will produce a substantial weather change. We're going to trend a colder pattern. It'll happen gradually at first, but all the way up to Christmas, just expect some chilly nights and some colder days. We'll get there. We've got to get through this mess first. All right, right now in Jackson County, heavy storms over Pettyboy, Horn, and Ship Islands coming off of the Chandelier Islands. And as we look at what's happening through time, our futurecast is going to continue to move this further on to the east as we go through the overnight hours. There's McIntosh there. Here is the warned storm there just to the south of 56 and Highway 43. So we've got our one warned storm. The one that was up for Jackson now to the north of town, not as prominent with the rotation there. And then new, they actually dropped the warning now for Jackson, but this is the one that they're holding on to until 7 o'clock. It's going to be for this specific area. It's the one warning we have on the board right now. The Highway 43 area between McIntosh and Wagerville currently under a tornado warning, and your warned storm right near Seaboard about to cross Highway 43. Based on what we're seeing, the fact that the rotation area has actually tightened up and looks more ominous, they may actually continue this warning over into Clarke County on the south side of Jackson between Choctaw Bluff and Jackson. I would expect that's most likely going to happen at the top of the hour at 7 o'clock. So we may be about 12 minutes away from the update because the storm has not yet outrun the tornado warned box there. Now, another thing we've been watching, Matt Barentine hinted at this earlier. We had some really nasty looking cells out over the Gulf of Mexico, over the Mississippi Barrier Islands and the Chandelier Islands. That is tracking towards the Mississippi coast and the Alabama coast and will end up in Mobile County. So as we look at it on radar, particularly nasty looking cells out here in the Gulf. We've got one over Mississippi Sound between Pascagoula and Horn Island. We've got another one here to the south and west of Pettyboy Island. And when we have one of these rogue cells right there on the south side of Dolphin Island, that one right there could be real problematic as it moves to the north towards Mobile County. When you have an individual cell ahead of a main squall line, I would be shocked if that's not producing a waterspout right now, and we'll have to watch out for that one. Places like Fort Morgan and Dolphin Island, still probably about 45 minutes to an hour away. It's still out over the Gulf, and it's running about 40 nautical miles out in the Gulf, so it's a pretty good ways offshore, but starting to see individual cells out here in the Gulf ahead of the main line. That could be a big problem for Mobile County and for Baldwin County as that gets closer. Stay tuned on that. we'll keep you posted on that. We'll keep watching that storm there. So active line of showers and storms going on here in Jackson County, in western Mobile County, and up into Washington County. We have seen some warnings for some of this activity ahead of the main line, but right now we're not currently under a warning there. We did just get an update on chat that we had some power outages south of Chatham where we had all that rough weather coming through around Tibby, and we had a really impactful looking live picture from our storm tracker as Ariel Mowry was in the Chatham area with very gusty winds, so I'm not surprised we have some power potentially being out there. All right, nasty line here. It's a broken line. The potential for severe weather in our area today, tonight, and into up to about midnight or so tonight. We just got an update from the Storm Prediction Center, and the focus is beginning to shift away from Greene County, and we're still maintaining an unusually high level 4 moderate risk for severe weather over Mobile County, over Baldwin County, over parts of western Escambia County, northern Escambia County, Florida, Connecticut County, almost all of Monroe County, Clarke County, and Washington County. We have the storms right now because the instability values are still very high out there tonight. Lines yet to move through, so we are looking at the potential of severe weather. Instability values are very, very high as we get closer to the coast. This is an update on the instability. Where you see the green, this is really high, especially considering the dynamics that are going on in the upper atmosphere. The dynamics are there. We've got the changing with wind direction with height. So we have the changing of the winds. We have the wind shear. That can produce rotation. We have also the strong upper level winds, and then you add in the instability being very high, and these are unusually high parameters are going on in our area. That's why we're concerned about possible tornadoes rocking the Gulf Coast tonight, and we have that level 4 risk that is ongoing. And we have an active warning right now in Washington County. And looking at our tornado risk values, if you take all those things I talked about, you plug all that in, and we get this STP value, the specific tornado parameter value. Those values are going to stay high. They're actually going to follow the line pretty much all the way through the area. Now, we don't mean that it's going to be completely over at 10 o'clock. This is model driven, so it's trying to time it out with the line. It will weaken a little for our neighbors to the east, but by then it's going to be gone, and we're going to see calmer weather, and we may see that as soon as around midnight, possibly a little sooner than that in our area, because this line is really getting a move on. Just checking in on our Washington County warning for you for folks here along Highway 43. I want to take a look at the rotation area that's occurring right now here pretty much right on top of Highway 43. This warning is going to continue for about another 7 minutes, and we've got it basically right in Wagerville. So where it says Wager right there, what we call Wagerville is going to be basically where 56, which is coming away from Chatham, and Highway 43 intersect, and we're seeing the rotation area crossing Highway 43 really close to Sunflower. So let's check this for debris and see if we have any debris going on in this area here. Right now it looks like there possibly could be a little something going on here, but it is not a tornado debris signature. You can see probably thunderstorm winds at least are starting to elevate, something going on here, but we'll have to watch. Another thing that we've seen with this happen a bunch of times is you can get debris that's carried up aloft and then it's carried away from the circulation center with the strong southwesterly winds that are in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere, and this is a pretty good ways away from the radar site there. But we are looking at rotation right there crossing Highway 43 near Wagerville, and this is going to be a real close call for Jackson. So it's tracking off to the east-northeast. It could end up in Jackson or a little on the south side of Jackson once it crosses the Tombigbee River. The last cell we had actually fizzled a little as it moved across the north side of Jackson. This one appears to be tightening up a little bit, and we got a new warning too. That's going to be just outside the area for Butler County. That just came down there, so that's not going to be in our area. This is just came up out of Connecticut County, but the warned storm is going to be actually up here in Butler County. So if you know anybody anybody who's traveling up Interstate 65 here between Evergreen and Greenville, that red box right there, that is a warned storm for Interstate 65. Wow, so much going on here tonight. Warning after warning. Unfortunately, we kind of saw this coming, so we are looking at severe weather potential in our area for tonight and this evening. And we've got team coverage going on here on Fox 10 News, and I'll send it over to meteorologist Jennifer Lamberts for an update on what Jen's seeing with these storms as she's taking over for Matt Barentine. Welcome in, Jen.
Yes, finally giving Matt a break. He's been here for quite a while today, tracking some of these storms, keeping you updated right here on Fox 10 as we're watching the potential for more of these lines to develop, move through. And so you're probably in Mobile and Baldwin counties and thinking, hey, nothing's really happening here yet. It's just sprinkling outside. Quite the light show going on with all of that thunder and lightning, but it is heading your way. We talked about this yesterday on Fox 10 and also heading into today. That best timing for Mobile and Baldwin counties was going to be closer towards that 7 and 8 o'clock range. And so we're going to keep all of those screens up there on the side, just with all of our storm trackers out on the road. You can see that Washington County one, that rain really coming down hard, and then Mobile mainly just calm so far. But all of those, you start to see the bright lights with all of that thunder and lightning that we're tracking out there. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at just what radar is looking like. I'm going to go ahead and pop up that lightning too, so you can really start to see some of those that are starting to pop up there. Now, this is only the last 30 minutes that we've been seeing some of these lightning strikes when they pop up there, but really active just off the coast there south of Pascagoula. Still expecting that storm system to be lifting up. That's what's going to be moving into Mobile Bay, Baldwin County, and also the Panhandle. So although things are calm right now, it's not expecting to stay that way. So that is why we will be staying on the air as long as there are active tornado warnings along the Gulf Coast. I do encourage you just to find ways to live stream this if you have something that you need to do. Have a way to get those alerts. Just make sure your phone's on. A great way to do that is going to be the Fox 10 weather app. You can go and turn on just some of those government alerts as well. That'll be in your settings, and really just be thinking about safe space. If you are in a tornado warning, do you know where to go? Are you prepared? Do you have that flashlight ready to go? Are you prepared for a power outage? Because one of the other concerns with this system is going to be the winds. There's also gusty straight line winds. We've already been seeing some power outages out there. There was reports just near Chatham, so south of Chatham, already seeing some of those power outages. I expect to see more of those, whether that's due to wind damage. I'm sure a lot of folks are going to be driving out in this. Just make sure you're being careful in case you're going to be heading out on the roads. And that's why we're going to be watching this. So many areas still in this 4 out of 5 risk zone. The SPC did update this. They shaved off a lot of our inland areas, our Mississippi counties, but Mobile, Baldwin, and a lot of our inland areas are still included in this. So remember, these storms are still yet to come. We're going to keep you updated on this on air. I know a lot of folks are wanting to watch the Lego Wars season finale. Just a reminder, I went ahead and looked that up. That's going to be airing on Hulu tomorrow. Also, you can watch it on Fox.com just in case that is something that you are wanting to do, just because this is very important coverage. This is to help save people, save their lives. But right now, I think we are going to go ahead and check in with Ariel, who is in Washington County, as we are continuing just to track some of these storms out there. Again, that we do have that current tornado warning out there, keeping a close eye on National Weather Service chat. But for right now, let's go ahead and check in with Ariel in Washington County. Ariel.
Now we're rolling down Highway 43, where again, the conditions are still pretty. Now the rain is very heavy. It has been like this now consistently for about the last hour since we've been driving. We've hardly been seeing any. Heading now back down south towards Mobile, where, like I said, driving down this road, it is just about as pitch black as it can be. We aren't really seeing much except for a few debris on the roadway. In the road, we have seen, like when we were leaving from Chatham, we started barriers also in the road.
All right, we'll keep that going there. It looks like the signal going in and out. The rotation area is really tightened up a lot here around Prestwick and Wagerville. It's about to cross the Tombigbee River, and that warning was extended until 7:45. So looks like the warning is going to continue for the Jackson area. Real heavy rotation starting to show up here, and a tornado warning up. You've got Wagerville there. Here's the Carson and Prestwick area. These are a couple communities that are very close to the Tombigbee River, just north of Sunflower. And and this is Highway 43 here. It looks like this cell for the time being is going to basically parallel Highway 43. The heart of Jackson is actually right in here on the south side of 43. There are a lot of businesses here along 43, but as we zoom in street level, you can actually see the city of Jackson right there, and we have a nasty looking area, strong low level rotation, and a tornado may pop down at any time. This just came down from the National Weather Service. So Jackson, be aware for a possible tornado down around Prestwick, Carlson, and also further to the south there, the Carson area, and also Wagerville, about to track across the Tombigbee River and head into and along the southern side of Jackson. There is the rotation area. There's strong rotation being noted right here. And we're going to watch this as it moves towards the north. Currently, again, we're not seeing a debris ball, but it appears at least some of the thunderstorm winds ahead of this may have lifted at least some debris aloft there over Jackson, too. So this will need to be monitored. Now, we mentioned that this warning was continued until 7:45. What does that look like? Okay, this is our storm-based warning for Clarke County, and the warned storm is about right here. This squiggly line is the Tombigbee River, and it's an important reference point because it's the dividing line between Washington County and Clarke County. And we're going to see this warning basically go right over Jackson. It's going to be a close call for Grove Hill, and we're going to have to watch out here around Watley on 84, and that's going to be closer to about 7:30 p.m. once that rotation area gets up here along Highway 84. So it's down closer to 43 in the Tombigbee now. It's generally going to follow Highway 43. It could parallel 43 or even intersect 43 briefly as it moves on off towards the northeast. So this thing is racing to the north and east, and we've got that warned storm there. And again, this is a very prominent looking area of rotation. It could produce a tornado at any time, and we are under a tornado warning. I would put the rotation pretty much right now on top of the Tombigbee River and the Carson community. It's going to get really close to Jackson and the south side of town, Industrial Road. You can see some of these locations popping up here. County Road 34, and getting down towards the river, you've got Boise Cascade, you've got Depot Road there, and further on out towards Cloninger Road, and then of course the heart of Jackson right there. So we are looking at some of the areas. If you see your streets popping up, you have a very strong rotation area heading your way. The south side of Jackson, Alabama could be about to be impacted by a tornado crossing the river and heading in. So there it is right there. Really strong rotation right there. You kind of see that blank pixel right there. Never a good sign there. And meteorologist Jennifer Lamberts is circling our rotation area that's going on right here on velocity. Your tornado would be possibly right there, and there's Jackson right there. Not good. This thing's moving so fast too, so you're in shelter in Jackson presently. Let this thing roll through. It will be around for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then it's going to be gone. But the next 10 minutes or so in the Jackson area, critical for seeking shelter and being out of the path of the storm and in a safe place. You don't have a lot of time to react because it's about to cross the river, and it is moving at about 50 miles an hour. We're using our debris scope, and again, no tornado debris signature right now, thankfully, but the rotation area is strong, and so we could get a tornado at any time, and maybe a little something right there. So we'll have to watch that as it moves through. Up near Bladen Springs, we saw a really strong one earlier tonight. So the area of concern right here, where the winds are going away from the radar towards the radar, real close together, and we are looking at a high level of rotation going on right now on our velocity product, about to cross the Tombigbee River and end up in Clarke County. So the warning is still technically up for Washington County for a little while longer, but within the next 10 minutes, this is going to be pretty much all Clarke County's issue with this current warning. the overview of the entire area right now. I just want to widen out a little bit and get you up to speed. We are looking at the roughest part of the storm coming through Mobile County. We do not have any active warnings right now. We have an especially nasty looking cell over Petty Boy Island, which is tracking towards the northeast, and that's going to be drawing a bead on Grand Bay and Bila Battery. There are some isolated cells here ahead of the main line too, so we've got to watch out for that. Just got an update on that one too. The National Weather Service is very concerned about the rotation in Jackson, continuing to mention Jackson regularly, especially the south side of town and downtown right there. And there is that rotation area here, Howard Johnson Road, Rockville Road, Gainestown Road, where it moves into, where you take not down towards Gainestown, but right here in Jackson where Gainestown Road comes in. We've got Cloninger Road there, and you got Jackson. It's going to be a real close call for the south side of town. It may be a little south of Highway 43, but still very close for Jackson here with strong rotation coming through. If you don't have a tornado, you're going to get thunderstorm winds here, and they could gust up to 70 miles an hour with some of the storms that we're seeing in our area here tonight. There's the very strong potential for thunderstorms with damaging winds. This will continue to track very close to Highway 43. It may stay just a bit south of 43, and what that means is we've got to watch out in Walker Springs. So once this clears Jackson, next up Walker Springs, Suggsville, and Watley. Those are going to be some of the communities that are out ahead of it here. Once it crosses Allen Walker Road, once it crosses Allen Road, once it gets a little bit further over here towards Morningstar Road, and then comes back in and intersects with Highway 84. So right now 69, 43, the Jackson area, rotation coming through Jackson. It's going to be in Jackson for about the next 5 minutes, and then it's going to be gone further to the east on the outskirts of Jackson and start tracking towards Walker Springs. We do have a crew in Grove Hill who may be a little north of this one. Grove Hill's up here, so this may pass a little south of Grove Hill. And of course, we've got crews out there right now in Mobile and Sims, where we're getting the heavier rain going on now, and there's that potential for severe weather tonight. Doesn't mean you're going to get it in every community across the Gulf, because that's actually not going to happen. Most severe weather events are localized events, and they can be found in very specific areas, but they can also be very violent in those specific locations. And right now, Jackson, Alabama is the area of concern. Further down the line we go into Mobile County and out into the Gulf of Mexico, and we are looking at this crossing. It looks like right along the Mississippi-Alabama line there, and there's not a warning up for that right now, which is good. This is the leading edge, and the next 30 minutes or so are going to be critical for the Mobile area. We're going to see that line coming through, and it's that one rogue cell out there off the west end of Dauphin Island we'll have to watch with time right there. Wouldn't be surprised to see that producing a waterspout presently. Of course, it's still about 30-35 miles out in the Gulf, but it won't be long. It'll, as fast as this thing's moving, it move over the east end of Dauphin Island. And looking just further to the south for any rotation out there over the Gulf and in Mobile County. Not seeing anything now, but we could get something going at any time. And there's that cell a little further offshore right there, so there is some rotation, although it is a bit broad out there over the Gulf of Mexico. So much going on here this evening and so much more to go with this line. Our active warning for Clarke County is going to stay in effect until 7:45, so we do have an active tornado warning going on right now in Clarke County. The red box shows us where the warning is. We've got a warning here and a warning here. This one's just outside the area in Butler County. So the warning, most likely they'll trim Washington County out of this warning soon, and it's going to be from Jackson forward within the red box. So we're still watching that rotation area there, and it looks like it's more into Jackson. So pretty much it's cleared Washington County. We're not out of the woods of Washington County. We still got about another 30 minutes or so to go before the squall line advances further to the east. There is Jackson there, south of 43, looking at rotation there, coming through Jackson and heading off across parts of Clarke County. And Jennifer, we've been getting a lot of updates from the National Weather Service on that. We've got a lot of crews out there in the field. This is a very volatile atmosphere we're dealing with here tonight.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Jason. And pretty much the best way to describe is why are we seeing all of this is I always do a lot of school visits. I love to talk to the kids. And one of the best ways to describe this is that we are on a battleground right now. And the way to see that is that you step outside today and you felt the conditions. It was muggy. It was warm. It did not feel good. Well, we have a very sharp cold front beginning to move in. That's going to be the cold, dry air. And so what we're seeing is going to be all those elements battling each other along this line. And that is just making a thriving environment for a lot of these storms. So it's either going to be the wind, the rain, the thunderstorms, and also the tornadoes. They thrive in this environment. That's also what's leading to a lot of this instability out there. And so that's why when we see one of these sharp cold fronts beginning to move in and living here on the Gulf Coast, that we see all of this warm, moist air, well, that just makes the perfect environment for it. So that is typically why we have our secondary severe weather season here on the Gulf Coast, is because we start to see cold air trying to move in, but then we just thrive here on the Gulf Coast having warmer conditions. And so what we're seeing so far for this evening is going to be this cold front pushing through, expecting it to continue to make its way through Mobile and Baldwin counties within the next hour. Already starting to see that move through Mobile. I can hear all of the thunder and lightning here at the Fox 10 studios in McGowan Park. And what we're just going to start to see is this continue to move through Jackson. And the good news, I would say, is that it wasn't looking as tight as what it was looking like just about 10 minutes ago when it was approaching closer towards Jackson, broadening out just a little bit. No updates from the National Weather Service, but still going to keep on this just because what we've been seeing so far is that they can widen and then they can get right up again and potentially even touch down. So that's why we're going to continue to stay with this tornado warning as we continue to track it and also head out and check in with some of our storm trackers on the road right now. So we're going to go ahead and check in with Ariel again. How's it looking out there, Ariel?
Yeah, Jennifer, pretty much of the same since we last spoke with you all a short while ago. Like I said, right now we're in Wagerville. We were making our way down south heading towards Mobile, but we pulled over just for a little while because we were actually getting ready to enter towards Jackson, where is pretty much where you all are talking about right now, where that heavy activity is. So right now we are parked in a parking lot, but as you can just see through our camera, that weather has gotten pretty violent out here. That's why we chose to pull over, and the lightning has been pretty aggressive as well, even hearing some hail outside also. So that's why we've chosen to stop. And like I said, we were getting ready to head actually just a few miles out from Jackson, so we definitely don't want to drive through that. So right now, for the most part, the wind has been extremely heavy, and right now we're just keeping our eye out on the roadway. Haven't been seeing anybody out here, which is good, so that people are at home, they're indoors, hunkering down, and that is really the best thing to do right now as the storm continues to push through. So we're going to continue to hang out here and wait until it is safe to pull out. So we're going to toss it all back to you in the newsroom so you all can continue to provide those updates. But for now, live in Wagerville, Ariel Mallory, Fox 10 News.
Stormy night out there, and that has cleared the Wagerville area. The rotation area is now pulling away from Jackson too, and it's getting closer to Walker Springs. So Walker Springs out and through here, and it's going to be a close call for Walker Springs. We are looking at perhaps a little broader rotation too, not quite as tight as it was over the Jackson area, and we do expect this rotation area to continue to track towards Wadley. So here's Grove Hill here. This is going to basically parallel 43 and cross 84, and that warning is up for about another 30 minutes for Clarke County now. So the warning earlier was possibly affecting places in Washington County. Now the tornado warning is fully into Clarke County, and that'll continue towards Highway 84. So we are looking at a possible situation for tornadic activity there, and it is now east of Jackson. So you can start to rest a little easier in Jackson. The line is making some progress, and we're not seeing any other rotation areas heading right for Jackson. This is a second close call for Jackson we've seen tonight. We had some rotation north of town. Now we had rotation in town and on the south side of town, and there's Walker Springs right there. So you got Allen Walker Road right there. And that tornado warning will continue for this area here in parts of Clarke County. Suggsville is also out ahead of this storm. So Walker Springs and then Suggsville. You see some of the roads there. Here is Allen Walker Road. There is Highway 43. A lot of folks can identify with that, a major thoroughfare between Grove Hill and Jackson, and we've got that storm out there over Walker Springs. And so that's what we have. Our one active tornado warning in our area is for Clarke County. Lots of activity across the Gulf Coast. We just had a report of a thunderstorm wind gust along the Mississippi coast near the Chevron refinery at about 70 miles per hour. And so that is all headed towards Dauphin Island. If you're around Dauphin Island right now in the south part of Mobile County, we've got a particularly nasty cell there out off the west end of Dauphin Island that's showing up on our Futurecast model. This is our HRRR. This line is going to keep rocking on off to the east, and by 9 o'clock we got it over in the Pensacola area. Could still be very active until about 10 or 11 o'clock. And then we'll see the leading edge of the line past Destin. And at that point, our severe weather will be over with. Don't expect this to keep going all night. This is an evening thing for the Gulf Coast. And once we get past this initial line, we're going to be looking way better, and our weather's going to be quiet for a number of days going forward. It's going to turn cold, and that cold snap may continue to deepen and last through Christmas. So we do expect to see some colder weather, as you normally would in mid to late December, and not seeing the yucky muggy stuff that we've seen right now with the high instability values that are fueling this storm. Looking at Mobile, that circle right there is the radar site itself. So we've got the core of this going through West Mobile right now, north and west of Irvington. Okay, just got an update on the tornado warning for Clarke County, and that's been continued and will continue until 7:45. So all we're seeing here is that they're just reinforcing the fact that we have a tornado warning, and it is now mentioning specifically this thing's about 5 miles southwest of Watley. So it's headed right for the Watley area and tracking off to the northeast at 45 miles an hour now. So Suggsville, Walker Springs, Watley's right there on Highway 84 between Gosport and Grove Hill. So it's going to be right about there. And there is your rotation area right there near Allen Road and Suggsville right now. So that's just an update on what we're seeing with that tornado warning going on right there. This is Clarke County, and that is our only active warning, but we do see a tornado watch in effect. And is this still, Jennifer, a PDS tornado watch? We've seen that at times tonight.
Let me... I am trying to see if that is, and I can get back to you on that one. It's hard when it's in this National Weather Service chat to see that. But I did want to go ahead and update that they did go ahead and cancel that tornado watch for Greene and also George counties. And then also we just have an update from the National Weather Service too, just saying, hey, we're closely monitoring some supercell storms that are moving northeast towards the coast. And these are going to be approaching Pensacola Beach and also Gulf Breeze over the next several minutes. The storm has strong rotation in it, and if it maintains its intensity, could pose a tornado threat as it moves onshore. So now we're starting to keep a close eye on the inland areas. These storms are tracking through Mobile County, and now I've done it ahead of this. The Pensacola Beach area, we're eyeing you next to potentially see some of these stronger storms as they approach onshore as well. So again, although you're not seeing some of this, I keep asking folks, when is this going to move through Mobile? If they're downtown, they're not quite seeing that yet. It's on your doorstep. It's starting to move through West Mobile right now, making its way over the airport. You're probably hearing all of that thunder and that lightning, so it is approaching you. Baldwin County is going to be up next once it does move over the bay. And then also I'm seeing I do have the Facebook chat open, so in case you head on over to our Fox 10 Facebook page, I do monitor the comments there just in case folks have questions or if you see any damage or you just are seeing live reports for us. So I see Reagan right now says that Saraland is right off exit 13 and the wind is really starting to pick up in that area, and so the wind is going to be a concern, as Jason had mentioned, that 70-mile-per-hour wind gust closer towards the coast. Also rain is going to be a concern too. What we're seeing is the Weather Prediction Center. They were talking about flash flooding as a concern, as we're looking to see that into the southeast region into the overnight hours. This rain will still continue. And they're talking about the localized rainfall rates as high as 1 to 2 inches per hour with additional totals of up to 2 to 3 inches. So just keep that in mind. We're talking rain, we're talking wind, we're talking thunderstorms, and also that tornado threat continuing as well. So I want to go ahead and just take a look at what the National Weather Service is seeing in terms of that rotation that's just offshore. For any of our panhandle friends that are watching some of this coverage right now, and you can really start to see that just south of Gulf Breeze and also NAS. So that bright red right there is what they're starting to eye as it continues on its approach just closer in between the Gulf Breeze and the Navarre area. So Pensacola Beach residents, just a heads up, don't be surprised if you do see yourselves put in a tornado warning. There you go. I can put that on the screen right there. Just once this system potentially begins to move closer towards onshore. So looking likely to be a water spout right now. Jason's been mentioning some of these offshore systems that we've been seeing, just really showing some of that rotation already. Also many marine warnings out there right now. And then also another update, additional storms with strong low-level rotation. So just areas of rotation just offshore. They're located south over the Gulf of Mexico to the south of Dauphin Island. That's exactly that one that Jason was talking about. These storms will continue to lift northeast, and they may pose a tornado threat near Dauphin Island or the Fort Morgan Peninsula within the next 20 to 30 minutes. So keep that in mind. Mobile, Baldwin counties closer towards the coast. Fort Morgan, Dauphin Island. We'll continue to watch the rotation with some of these storms too. We'll check in real quick with what's that looking like. And just that area of bright green, that blue right there, that's what we're going to continue to just keep a close eye on. We'll monitor these. We'll monitor the other tornado warning out there in Clarke County right now. But let's go ahead and check in for some of our inland areas. In Grove Hill, we do have our Dacian Smith. How's it looking out there, Dacian?
Hey, Jen, well, over the last couple minutes, things did start to die down a little bit, but then we just got a big flash of lightning and some more thunder, so we can definitely tell that something is getting a little closer. We've been in Grove Hill all day where it's been mostly quiet, except for when we first came out this way to take shelter. The rain really did start to pick up for several minutes, but again, that lightning, that thunder is starting to get back in here, but thankfully not too much in the way of those strong winds, which of course is good news for this area. Like I told you guys, at 4 and 5, there were a lot of concerns about people being on the road, a lot of down trees, down power lines. That was something else that the sheriff and the EMA director wanted to stress. So far, haven't gotten any reports of any of that, but of course we are still down here watching. Again, right now that light rain is coming down, the lightning is starting to pick up a little bit more, and so is the thunder, but so far so good here. But of course we are keeping a watchful eye on you guys as well as the weather conditions out here, and hoping that that storm that y'all were talking about a second ago does stay a little farther away from here. But that's what we're seeing so far. Jen, Jason, back to you guys.
You're looking good there in that location there. Dacian, thanks for the report and checking it out right now. A couple of different things we're watching. We still have rotation over Clarke County, so the Whatley area is under a tornado warning right now for Whatley and Suggsville. For some rotation here, it's pretty good ways away from the radar site, and the rotation is a little broader, but we still could be indeed dealing with a tornadic situation around Morningstar Road, Allen Road, and crossing Highway 84 here shortly. There is your rotation area there. Something that meteorologist Jennifer Lambers brought to light here and that we've been tracking too is that out over the Gulf, we've got a couple of areas of rotation that we're watching. All right, right now off of Dauphin Island, now about 15 miles out, we've got a real heavy area of rotation. And really, this could clip the east end of the island, but it looks like it may be more of an issue for Fort Morgan Road. So this area here, tracking northeast, Fort Morgan proper and the Fort Morgan Road, the Navy Cove area, Andrews Bay, and along Fort Morgan Road about over to the west end of Lagoon, you're going to have to watch out for a rotating thunderstorm that may be producing a waterspout or a tornado over the water, which could be moving over this area in about 20 minutes. So we do see rotation out over the Gulf, a little piece of it right there, but that's the one we're watching. Pensacola Beach. We're also watching out for you as well. There is a rotation area here, and that is tracking towards Pensacola Beach, which is right there. It looks like it'll cross over to the east of Johnson Beach and to the east of Fort Pickens and end up out here close to the Pensacola Beach the bridge from Gulf Breeze over to Pensacola Beach and along Pensacola Beach. So we've got a rotation area there out over the Gulf. You know, you get down close to the Gulf this time of the year, and a lot of times you don't see tornadic activity because the nearshore waters of the Gulf are so cool, it has a stabilizing effect on the storms. Well, the atmospheric dynamics tonight are going to overcome that, and the threat is real for southern Mobile County, for southern Baldwin County, and for the Panhandle. Talking about Mobile County specifically right now, it looks like the worst of the line may have snuck through parts of Mobile County, and we are looking at to the north up near Chunchula. It's still really strong here, but it's not as strong south of there. So coming through town, this is the leading edge, and once you deal with the leading edge, the severe weather threat begins to lower, and it looks like out towards the west, out towards Big Creek Lake and down here around Seven Hills, we're just about done with the threat tonight, so we're doing better there. But it's the eastern side of the county, and you know, when this came through, we just got a report of a wind gust of 53 miles an hour at Bates Field in Mobile County. 53 mile per hour gust, not under a warning here, just for the squall line itself. We had another report of a 70 mile per hour gust near the Chevron refinery here, right close to the Mississippi-Alabama line. So these thunderstorms are the real deal. Even if they're not producing tornadoes, they can produce damaging winds. And you see this headed towards the east end of Dauphin Island. It's over the west end right now. We got another cell here offshore, really rough there. And then behind that, you know, the winds will ramp up. It'll get real gusty, and then all of a sudden, once that wind drops off, that means that the main part of the storm is likely gone, and you may be better off. You can see it coming across near Celeste Road now, hitting northern Mobile County hard, and then up into Clarke County, where we have our active tornado warning going on right now for Watley. Just checking in on that. That's going to stay in effect for about another 20 minutes until 7:45. So we have a tornado warning for Clarke County, and a lot of counties still in a watch as well, but we got a tornado warning until 7:45. We've actually seen Greene County and George County dropped out of the tornado watch. Severe threats pretty much over there. Jackson County won't be long. You'll be out of it. Mobile County still has a little ways to go. Washington County, it looks like just the southeastern part of the county, and then we've got the rest of the Panhandle that's going to have to deal with this, as well as Baldwin County. We may have some new warnings here coming up pretty soon. So just had a wind gust of 53 miles an hour at Mobile Regional Airport as the severe thunderstorms coming through. The warned storm is now bearing down on Highway 84. It's up into Clarke County, and it's coming through Suggsville. There's Old Line Road there. It's going to be just a little up from Gosport. It's in Watley basically right now. Watley's not popping up on our map, but it's there, and that's where we're seeing the rotation area. It could be right there. So looking at it there with a strong cell moving through, you can see Main Street right there, and looking at where we're seeing that rotation area may be a little to the east, but anyhow, there it is there in Clarke County. Here tonight, warning is going to be up for a little bit longer until 7:45. So checking that out, we've got good news. The National Weather Service, and I just got the signal from meteorologist Jennifer Lambers, has dropped the tornado warning for Clarke County. So right now, we are actually not under any active tornado warnings for our area. There are 2 rotation areas out over the Gulf we're going to watch. If we see a warning, we'll come right back in. But right now, we actually have a lull in the tornado warnings in our area. The threat is not over. We are closely watching it. We're going to go back to programming, but if we do see severe weather, we'll be right back here with you.